Good morning. Please like, subscribe and share if you like this video. The last bit was slightly sarcastic because there was a comment yesterday, don't tell me to like it before I've heard it. I'm like, not. If you like it, do. If you don't, it would make no sense, would it? We might be a bit unfiltered this morning. Under my skin is Bridget Phillipson and Rachel Reeves for a slew of flat-footed comments that have missed reading the room. The room is you and I, it's us. So Bridget's accused Laura Trott of a barefaced lie. It's about the free school meals expansion and how more children are going to get free school meals. What she hasn't told you is that removes the pupil premium. It's a very complicated thing, and I will talk about that in another video, but what I want to talk about right now is the behaviour, the accusation it's a barefaced lie. So Bridget's heckles are up. In her interviews, we have a lot of this. Now, I've had a conversation with somebody about this, and they've said, you know, this is cognitive load. The blinking is trying to make sense of the lies that are coming out the mouth, or trying to remember the lies that we've said, or trying to put together all the pieces and tell you what they think you need to hear, not what you want to hear, and justify it in their own mind while they're saying it. So if somebody does a lot of that, that's generally why. They're trying to keep up with their own lies. And also, it's controlling anger. We know that Bridget has a switch, flick it, and she's off. So she has to try and manage that anger in public because she's been caught out a few times and it hasn't gone well. So she's accused Laura Trott of a barefaced lie. She's called parents whose children are in the independent sector the private group lobbyists. So if we start with the lie, Bridget Phillipson told us there'll be 6,500 new teachers in school because of the VAT raid on independent education. That was a lie. Now, we know that was a lie because it came up in court, in the court case. And in the court case, we were told that Rachel Reeves was explicitly told that it wouldn't raise that money. We were told in the court case that Rachel Reeves was explicitly told that 56,000 children would move. Now, Bridget Phillipson, you may remember, said that only 3,000 would move. And if anybody else gives her another fact, she says, I don't accept it. Well, that's fine, Bridget. You don't have to accept it. It's the truth. And by you not accepting it, all that means is that you're so disconnected with reality, you can't accept reality. So you don't need to accept it. I'm not bothered whether you accept it or not, because the actual lived experience, the reality, the actual physical kids moving out of schools and going into new schools tells us all we need to know. Whether you want to accept that or not, that's down to you. You do what you like with that. But the reality is, at the minute, 13,000 children have left the independent sector. She's then wanging on about birth rates. Now, that's an interpretation of statistics. And whether the birth rates are falling or not, have they fallen now? So that's the question we want to ask. So when Bridget Phillipson starts saying that the birth rates are falling, so there's less demand for secondary places in London, what we need to be asking her is, have they fallen now? Birth rates are falling and predicted to fall. Well, let's deal with that when that happens. But right now, we have kids in classes that need teachers. We have oversubscribed classes. We have oversubscribed schools. We have a glut of kids coming in from the independent sector. So whether they fall or not is immaterial, Bridget. So when you talk about birth rates falling, I do not accept that. Okay, good. Then when we're on about the barefaced lies, let's get back to Bridget's childhood. Now, Bridget's a good one for telling you that this is all because of the poverty that she lived in and she has seen. And certainly with the free school meals, she doesn't want anyone to go hungry, nor do I. So we're agreeing on that, Bridget. We don't want anyone to go hungry. But you've categorically stated, you've linked this to your past. You have said that you grew up in poverty, but you have also said in interviews that you never went hungry. Now, I know this is a little bit like splitting hairs, but we need to split the hairs because you are the Education Secretary and the Secretary for State. So you're in a position of authority. I'm just standing at my kitchen think these are just my opinions. So I will pull it apart, because if you're going to be in that position of authority and link a policy to your own childhood, and the basis of that policy has come from your own experience, then it needs to be true, Bridget. And it isn't. Or is it? We've talked about this. I'm having my mugs made. They're going to say, pick a lane. Bridget, pick a lane. Did you go without food or did you not? We have several reports. You talk about the heating in the upstairs of your house. We have several reports saying that's absolute rubbish. We also have reports saying that all of those houses had heating downstairs. And so we're getting really mixed messages, but it's your lived experience. That's fine. What you don't tell people on a regular basis is your mum made significant money from a charity that you worked in. So your only lived experience is school, Oxford University, which your mum sent you to, even though you were very hard up and you had no money. And then you worked in her charity. Now, you are not relatable. What you're trying to do is relate, but it's not, because there's more holes in it than Mike Hollander. And we've had that with Keir Starmer talking about, I know what it is to be a working person. I remember my dad working 10 hours at the factory. Well, this factory, who owned it, Keir? Because word on the street is your dad owned it. Now, if I owned a factory, I'd be spending 15 hours there a day, because you'd want to get maximum output from your factory, wouldn't you? It would be your business. I don't know. It's just my opinion. It's just what I hear, and I'm sharing it with you. You can all go away and Google it if you want. Did Keir Starmer's dad own the factory? There's also rumours that Keir Starmer's grandparents or great-grandparents lived in a castle somewhere. So shall we put you on that TV programme, Who Am I? I mean, it would be interesting to know who you are. There was an absolutely fantastic video of a nightclub of young kids singing, Keir Starmer's a Perhaps you could find out who you are with them in tow. So we've got Bridget Phillipson fudging the truth. We've got Keir Starmer who's not even fudging the truth. Then Rachel Reeves, yesterday, she did an interview on why she's making all the choices that she's making and free school meals. And yet again, it is directly pegged to her own experience growing up. Now, Rachel says she's a bit different to Bridget. Bridget says she lived it. Keir says she lived it. Rachel said she saw it. So Rachel said because she saw it, that's what made her so passionate about joining the Labour Party, and that's what made her decide she would never let that happen again. So we've got three people who are making decisions for the entire country based on their own individual experiences of their own feelings of injustice. Now, I get the feelings of injustice. I have one with Land Rover, as you well know. Am I shaping the pathway so that nobody can ever buy a Land Rover again? No, I'm simply sharing my story. Am I going out there changing the motor industry so radically so that Land Rover do not, or Marshall's Land Rover do not do to me what they've done to other people? No, it is not in my power. And even if it was in my power, I wouldn't do it because it's free choice. People should be allowed to make the choices they want to. And those choices should not be driven by a political agenda. The state should not force them into a corner where the choice is do it the state's way or the state's way. That's not a choice, is it? That's one arm up your back being told what to do. But yet the top three are doing exactly that based on their own perceived sense of injustice. Now, we've had lots of chats about how everyone fitted in at school and what their experience was and bullying and stuff. And certainly on Bridget, she felt that she didn't fit in at Oxford. Now, you lot may be kinder than me and have a reason as to why that was. I think they just didn't like you, Bridget. I just think they didn't like you. And not everyone likes everyone. There will be people on this going, I can't stand you. Stop standing at your sink and warbling. That's okay. That's your choice. But do I then go on to persecute an entire sector of society because someone didn't like me standing at my kitchen sink? Or do I take it on my shoulders, not broad, can't absorb it, Bridget, in terms of finances, but as an actual adult, do I go, fine, that's all right. You do you, I'll do me. I do the latter. But you persecute people because of your own sense of injustice of what happened to you. Your agenda is not all children. It's one child, and it's Bridget Phillipson, the child. The same with Rachel Reeves and Ellie Reeves. God, she does my nutting. And Keir Starmer. It's all your own individual sense of injustice as a child, and you're now playing out the retribution on the entire country. You say you're making tough choices. You are not making tough choices. You're making your choices to suit you, and you're playing it out on the British public. So when you retweet, that's a barefaced lie to Laura Trott, you need to do a reality check. And as I said in my tweet last night on X, you need to get comfortable with the uncomfortable, because your history, Bridget and Rachel's and Keir's, is a melting pot of resentment, envy and jealousy. And it is turning into an entire country falling at your sword because you want to put right your perceived wrongs. And that's what we're seeing. So when you accuse other people of lying because you don't accept the facts, the truth, we see how disconnected and deluded you are. And you're playing this out, Bridget, with children. The facts are 13,000 have left the independent sector. And the facts are they are now going into the state sector. The facts are we have 11,000 missing children from education, Bridget. What are you doing about that? And the facts are the free school meals are not free. They're taxpayer funded. And all you're doing is widening the net for those that can get them and then clawing it all back in with the pupil premium. That's a technical one. So we'll do a technical video on that later. But when people are reading the paper, looking at, digesting what's happened this week, and we see these accusations of barefaced lies and we see this consistent resentment, where does it come from? It comes from three people's childhood where they felt somebody did something mean to them and they're now making you and me pay for it.